Hello, welcome to a very grey and a bit wet Edinburgh this morning. Not really gardening weather, but I thought I'd do a quick IGTV of how I planted tulips in a pot. I did a reel earlier in the week. It was all very quick, so I thought I'd do a bit more of a detailed show. So let's get started. So I'm using terracotta pots for my tulips this year. I've got a slightly bigger one than the pot I used for my reel. As you can see, it's looking quite weathered, but I do quite like that. I prefer the weathered look to the brand new terracotta look. So what I'm going to start off with is I've got a crock in the bottom to stop the drainage hole getting clogged up with compost. So I put that in the bottom, and I'm going to start putting the compost in, and this is peat-free compost mixed with horticultural grit. I've mixed probably 3 parts compost to about 1 part grit, so it's quite gritty, as you can see, but that really helps with the drainage. So tulips really don't like getting wet at all, so your bulbs will probably rot if they get too wet. So I'm just going to fill that up. I think I'm going to fill it up to just this first kind of bit on the pot. Okay, so I've got my first layer of compost, and I'm going to plant my first layer of tulips, and you plant them with the pointy end upwards, and these are called Double Early Margarita, so they are double flowers, which are really nice, and they flower a bit earlier than the other tulips I've got, so I'm putting them at the bottom. Also check out the height that they grow to, so you would place the taller ones on the lower layers of the pot. I think all of mine are the same height, which was by chance really. I didn't mean to buy them like that, but that's just the way it happened. So I've got my first layer, and I'm going to put the next layer of compost on. So I've added maybe a couple of inches of compost on top of those first layer of bulbs, and then I'm just going to plant the next layer on top. Okay, I'm going to plant a final layer of tulips. Because this is a really quite a deep pot, I've decided to try 3 layers of tulips, and then a layer of Muscari, which are Grape Hyacinths, on the top, which look quite nice with the tulip foliage. So I'm just going to plant this final layer, and just to say, you can pack them in quite tightly, so as long as the tulips don't touch each other, you can get quite a few in your individual layers. Okay, so final layer of the Grape Hyacinths. So that's all the bulbs planted in this container, and what I'm going to do to finish off is to put a layer of grit on the top, which helps protect it from squirrels. So if you've got a squirrel problem like I do, it gives them some protection to getting dug back up, which is so annoying. And it also means that when you water it, the compost doesn't splash around the pot, so it just keeps it a bit neater. So I'm just going to put that on the top. So here are the 2 bulb lasagne pots. I'm keeping them just here, so they're quite sheltered. They're under a bit of a roof ledge. If you have room in your greenhouse, which I don't, because my greenhouses are tiny, but if you do, you could keep them in there, but they should be okay here. They are quite sheltered from the rain, but hopefully in the spring I shall have some lovely looking pots of tulips. I've got 1 more to pot up, so I will show you them when they come into flower, hopefully in April time. But thank you very much for watching, and have a lovely weekend, everybody.